There's just 2 days left of our half off sale on the EDGEFINDER, and I don't want you to miss out. The EDGEFINDER is a trading software tool that traders around the world are using to find better trade setups right now, using things like the Smart Money Tracker, which reflects the COT reports, retail sentiment. It also tracks seasonal trends for traders who are looking to take advantage of seasonality, and it creates a watch list each and every day for traders that use this from all over the world. People in North America, and parts of Africa and Asia and Europe are all using the EDGEFINDER to build better data-backed trading setups. If you've been watching the channel for a while and you're familiar with our software, then I want to let you know that our half off sale is ending soon and I don't want you to miss out. If you would like to get more information about the software, make sure to message us right now using the link that is down below. You'll be connected directly to someone on our team to ask them about the half off sale. But wait, it gets better. If you direct message us, it's 55% off. You get an extra 5% off just by messaging someone on our team who can connect you to the tool, get you set up, and if you'd like, you can set up a call to go over the software if that would be helpful to you. We want to make sure this software is a right fit for you. We're not just trying to sell this to anybody, and we'd like to connect and get to know you before we sell you the software. So again, click that link and let us know that you're interested in the half off sale before it ends. And remember, 55% is available if you do direct message us now. Hey, are you still trading gold at all?
No, I trailed out of it, but it was on that last pullback from yesterday with that long wick.
Okay, got it. But that was a profitable trade for you, right?
That was a nice trail out. I'm kind of liking it now, seeing it pull back harder. Maybe if it comes up and makes another higher low, that would be a good sign. But I'm still bullish on gold and stocks overall, but you know, earnings season is just going to be pretty messy for the markets overall. Even we saw a beat in claims, which is probably, I guess it would be mixed sentiment because we're trying to wait to see what the Fed's going to do. Like, better economic numbers is probably a sign that, like, oh, maybe they want to hike more, but CPI and core is complying with their hikes. So kind of mixed overall. I think investors are just betting on another one this month anyways, another hike at least. And then Tesla.
I think the Fed Watch tool has us at 90% chance of another rate hike. So, and then you mentioned Tesla. What was that?
Was like a big earnings news event for the NASDAQ. And so they beat earnings, but their profit margin slid again. So same thing as last quarter, where Tesla's just, I guess, kind of disappointing investors in some way, but I think this is just a short-term kind of sell-off. And so still got my overall bias and looking at pullbacks, looking for some confirmation though to the upside. So NAS looks pretty bearish right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, Frank, it is a nice day for pullbacks, I guess. It is, you know, we've got NASDAQ pulling back, as you mentioned, that Tesla news kind of dragging down. Crazy to think about that, Frank. I mean, you and I, years and years ago, we discussed, you know, looking at Tesla stock before it was anything. And crazy to think that here we are now on a show talking about how Tesla is now dragging down the NASDAQ. That is a crazy change of events. Frank and I, there's a video somewhere piled on my YouTube channel of a time Frank and I just visited a Tesla dealership. We've always thought the cars were super cool, and we went and just checked out the cars one day. And we may have to pull that video up, Frank. That was may find that someday. That was a fun day. But so NASDAQ pulling back. I'm kind of interested in the NAS and gold. I might actually be taking a double trade here today if price comes down just a little bit more there. Frank, I wanted to ask you there also on gold. Would you be interested in picking it back up here on this dip today, or would you try and wait for a deeper retracement? What do you think?
I don't know. It will probably be a later on kind of decision, but I mean, I want to get back in it, so I guess maybe the sooner the better, but I got to see something. I got to see this 4 hour at least show some rejection, or go down to the 1 hour and see some kind of bullish, you know, reversal, I guess. But I think it's just too hard to tell right now. But yeah, so gold and S&P. I think I would like to see the S&P come down to the 4530s. So that would probably mean if the S&P falls, gold and Nas are going to do the same. So maybe gold will come down harder. But there's just this previous top that I like. And I think it's breaking out of this sort of zone it's been in. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on the S&P. I think for me, it's like 45-25 range. Looks interesting if we got that retracement. This is a 4-hour chart, of course. I mean, it's just been in a strong run. And I do think, Frank, I sold calls on a couple positions. I'm feeling pretty good about that right now. My Tesla calls that I sold are doing all right. It was partially just a reaction, not necessarily to wanting to short the market by any means. Like, I'm not looking to short NAS or anything like that, but I sold calls on a couple stocks, sold calls on Starbucks, I sold calls on Tesla, and I sold calls on Amazon and collected some premium for that. And with this pullback, again, it's just kind of like this market looks like it's still very bullish, but it's just hard when it goes straight up like this. It needs to have a corrective period. It needs to have some sort of consolidation before I'm really interested in potentially picking it up long. I think, to play devil's advocate to our own concept here, Frank, of potentially looking at longs, if this thing does start to tumble, you probably have 5 or 6% to give back on the NASDAQ before it really gets looked at by, bigger, longer term buyers. But I think I'm still willing to give it another momentum shot. As long as this momentum doesn't crack, I would say personally, if price is able to break down underneath like 15,500, that would probably be okay, let me step away and get out of the way for a minute here approach. How would you, so let's say, Frank, the NASDAQ gives you a pullback or the S&P pulls back, either one, you could share your charts and just show us kind of where you'd be looking to enter and what would be your point of like, okay, let me stop out of this guy.
Okay, so I like this spot right here in the green. So like I said, the 4530s, just a big demand zone. But I mean, if price comes below that, then we have a couple other levels, low 45s, just under 45, and then this previous top maybe paired with the trend line, 4460, 4470. I think what we have to watch out for is besides earnings, that probability that investors are expecting another hike is pretty high. So I think maybe going into next week, it's going to be pretty volatile and maybe even bearish up until then. But I think, like what we've been saying, yes, it's bullish overall. And this hike that we're about to most likely see from the Fed could just be a security hike, because everything's coming down like according to plan. Everything's moving the way the Fed wants it to. But maybe one more hike will be like the nail in the coffin, I guess, and be the extra reassurance that we're going to get down to that 2% inflation target in time. And I think investors are just going to have to sort of price this in. And we've also seen an incredible run, so there's a lot of profit taking. So I wouldn't be surprised if we saw, besides this dip down to here, like 0.5%, if we saw another 1% or 2% drop from there. So I think anywhere in this range is still pretty bullish for me.
That is my entry, and my stop loss is 179.40 actually. So it's still a bit left, but yeah, I'm definitely in losses there. And I was definitely still keeping my euro yen buys.
Nice.
Which is entry is somewhere around there. So for me, it's kind of like, I have profits on euro yen, I have losses on the pound yen, but the sun is still shining.
Yep. Well, and that I guess that UK CPI number wasn't too helpful to the pound side, but it's nice to see you got the euro side going on. So you're pretty close on pound yen, if that one stops out, again, if euro yen continues to make a run, or if for both of your trades, if the yen kind of goes to weaken from here, it could be, of course, a positive factor there. So it will be interesting to keep an eye on that pound yen, though. It really has, it really took a tumble with that CPI number, but euro still really strong. You've got any other yen crosses that you're looking at?
Well, I have been giving the A1, some of the A1 members, a very hard time about this CAD yen, because people was buying around here and around here and around here, and I was like, dude, this isn't bullish. And then and asked me when the price was down here, is it still bullish? And I'm like, it's never been bullish. Well, actually now, as this morning, I haven't got a reply, I think, but right now it started to turn around. So to be honest, CAD yen might be actually now being getting into the game of bullishness. The only problem that I have with these yen pairs, because seasonality was supposed to end tomorrow, is that we have Bank of Japan interest rate meeting next week, Friday, and they might change their monetary policy, slightly change the yield curve control. So that might lead to yen strength.
Yep, that's a fair point. I mean, ahead of any sort of central bank meeting, the volatility can be very high. And again, like you mentioned, any signs of, they've hinted at that. If they do pull the trigger on any of it, it could put some pressure on yen pairs, and that will be very, very interesting to watch. What about? Do you have anything on Aussie yen or Kiwi yen? I know we had talked about those in the past. Have you been looking at them still, or anything?
No, I just saw that I never got to enter New Zealand because I saw New Zealand dollar being so weak. So I never got into New Zealand yen, and then after that, it was there when I was entering the other trade, so it went too far down. But I don't know what happened to Aussie yen. Is that like a CPI or something overnight? But this is still not bullish for me, so I haven't really entered it yet.
I was listening to some money managers talking on CNBC last night, and they were talking about how, last August, we talk seasonality sometimes with Ivan here. If you guys are not familiar with Ivan's style, he does incorporate a lot of seasonal trends and such in his analysis, as well as his technicals and that sort of thing. Well, Ivan, I was looking at the seasonality for the month of August, and you mentioned September. September, historically, last 10 years or so, has been a pretty ugly month for markets. And a lot of people point to last August, the markets took a tumble. Last August was not so great for the S&P and for the NASDAQ and things like that. But it's important to consider all avenues of things. Number one, last year, the outlook was totally different than what it is right now. And it's important to just address that, right? Like CPI is at a much better spot. We have several things. Unemployment has not been destroyed as many people were thinking it would be, right? There's not earnings recessions happening that are crazy. Now, of course, they could still happen. We're entering earnings season now. But again, you have to kind of look at this thing and say, well, perhaps September, as you mentioned, we could see a slight decline, perhaps some pullbacks in the indices. September and October, both not the greatest in terms of seasonal expectations, but we're still in exactly what we would have expected here in the months of June, July, and lo and behold, August is also expected to be slightly positive. So I'm still in dip buying mode when it comes to the indices based on what I'm seeing. I do think that there is room to pull back. I mean, we're getting the NASDAQ selling off here as we speak, 15,687. I think it has possibly a checkpoint here. Maybe it finds a bounce there, but if it doesn't, it probably has room to go lower, perhaps around 15,550. So I'm going to give it a shot, I think, on the long side. Is it? This is the thing, right? Many people would say, oh, you're chasing this thing. It's still got more room to fall. Maybe it does. But again, I'm just looking at the data that I've got in front of me, and I'm going to calculate my risk. I'm going to put a stop on the trade, and I'm going to try and trade it the best I can. So, Ivan, you've got yen pairs playing out. We've talked indices. Is there anything else on your radar?
We talked about a euro last time I was moaning around, but oh, where is it? But it's coming a bit down, but it's actually paused, was actually against my expectation. But as I just wanted to come back down to 111, it hasn't gotten that yet. So I'm just patiently waiting. You know, everything is great, everything is all right, and yeah, so it went very fast up. And what can I say? Happy days, because what is the current position? Do we need to trade euro dollar? Do we need to trade S&P? Do we need to trade anything? Nothing at all.
Right.
But for me, like, just let it come back. Just give it to me, and we will look for an entry, and then it's supposed to go back up again. Anyways, longer term. So the other thing, just to mention about Nasdaq last year in August, that was when we were pricing in a lot more higher interest rates. And that is in turn higher cost financing costs for businesses. So that's a completely different scenario. And now we are maybe ending right cycle. We might be thinking, oh, there's going to be more profits now. So this is going to go up, S&P is going to go up, and Nasdaq is going to go up, and that's just not because I am ultra bull, but it's just the whole system, the whole economy, the whole central bank, everything is prone to markets for businesses to grow and grow and grow and grow, and we can't keep falling forever.
Don't forget to check out the links in the description if you want our broker recommendation, access to our free Discord, free EDGEFINDER, or want to chat with us on Telegram. Remember, you can watch us live in the markets every morning starting at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and we have lots more free trading tools and content available on our website, a1trading.com. Thanks for watching.